the hatred or the dislike or distaste towards polygyny was not something that was found out of the jealousy, but rather, as we mentioned, when these other morals and norms will begin to be forced upon the Muslim society from colonization, from Europe, this is when the dislike or distaste towards polygyny began to take place.
Well, let me ask you this question. What is it that, for example, Marla was saying, well, you know, is there some type of transition or training or something that occurs? How would you explain the training with respect to polygyny and the other aspects of Islam? For example, there's no training class that you go through for polygamy, but there are things that occur in the deen that makes you aware, among other things, prepare you for it.
Well, there's no question that in our religion, knowledge is very important, or learning or educating is very important. So with regards to the issue of whether it's polygyny or other than polygyny, that there are classes or lessons that should be put forward, and we do in our masajid, in our mosques. We do have classes on marriage, and we do have classes on divorce, and there have actually been books that have been authored by the scholars of the past that were specific to marriage. There were books that were actually written specific to marriage, and there are also books that were specifically written for plural marriage. For example, a book by one of the scholars of the past, his name is Ahmed Shakir, who was an Egyptian scholar, a scholar of prophetic traditions, and he wrote a book called Ta'addud az-Zawjat, and Ta'addud az-Zawjat in Arabic actually means plural marriage or polygyny. So there were actually books that were dedicated to this particular subject, written solely and for the sole purpose of the issue of polygyny. So there's no question that we must educate our sisters and our brothers with regard to the rights and etiquettes of plural marriage. And I believe that it all starts with, if we were to teach them properly, the proper fear of their creator, the proper etiquettes of Islam, then they would embrace that which the religion calls to, as opposed to rejecting it in the fashion that we see.
And on that conclusion of that of that answer, we have to go and see what the traffic holds for us out here with Paul.
And particularly African American women are readily going to embrace. When I say going to, I mean because I think the proposition that has been laid out there that you actually have suggested before, because there's so many women, 7 to 1, 8 to 1, 12 to 1, okay, why not consider this whole notion of plural marriage? And I don't think that women in particular are going to embrace that concept regardless of the ratio.
You know the only thing that gets me with that?
What's that?
They would embrace being the other woman when someone has a husband. They would embrace being hold on, let me finish though.
Sure.
And they would embrace being the chick on the side, and meaning no disrespect, but using that as a phrase to categorize something. But the thing that amazes me about that is that being the chick on the side or being the other woman, you don't have any rights. You don't have any rights. But that's okay.
No.
But let's talk about doing something that will give you just being treated just, giving you the same rights as the other wife, and people are having amazing, crazy things about it. But you know the other thing about
I understand that, but I don't believe that if women were given the choice of being the chick on the side or being involved in a polygamous situation, that they would not choose to
you don't think they know?
No, absolutely. And let me say this, and I don't believe that brothers out there, Islamic brothers or other brothers, would be willing to share their wives with other men.
No, that's a whole different story.
We can discuss that. I mean, that's not difficult to discuss. Firstly, with regards to the issue of African American community, there was a book written some years ago by Philip Kilbride, and it's called Plural Marriage for Our Times, a Reinvented Option. And he looks into some of the socioeconomic prospects with regards to polygyny. He even looks into it from the feminist standpoint. And he has a chapter called Crisis Polygyny. It's called Crisis Polygyny, Man Sharing in the African American Community. And the data is overwhelming. The amount of women in the African American community who are sharing their meat, as we're discussing right now. And the difference is that in
saying they're not doing it knowingly.
I'm not disputing that they're not sharing, and there are women who are knowingly sharing. I'm saying that I don't believe that most of the women in our community would be receptive to multiple marriages.
Well, I'm glad you said that, because you know what? We have a sister that is joining us all the way from upstate New York, a sister Anissa, who wrote a book named Polygynous Blessings, a sister that actually is Muslim, obviously, and that is involved in a polygamous or plural marriage. And the book, from all those that have read the book, people say it's just an unbelievable book. Are you there, sister?
No. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah. How are you, sis?
Alhamdulillah. How are you?
Alhamdulillah. I'm sorry I put you on I don't want to put you on a hot seat, because that's not, the seat is not going to be hot at all. But one of the things that you can enlighten us about is the whole concept of being into a plural marriage, the relationship that one would have with the sister wife or the co-wife. And you can give it from a perspective that unfortunately I'm not able to do. So why don't you help us out here?
Okay. Well, I just a little background. I've been married about 2 years, and I've been in polygyny for 1.5 of those years. So the majority of my marriage I've been in polygyny. And I guess, you know, like the brother was saying, Brother Hasan Maalik was saying earlier, you know, issues of jealousy and these types of emotions, you know, are definitely a natural thing that women experience. But there's a difference between, you know, feeling these emotions and then reacting on those emotions. And as a Muslim, you know, we're supposed to accept everything that, you know, our Creator has legislated, because our Creator created us and therefore knows us better than we know ourselves. And so one's acceptance of polygyny is tied to their trust and their belief in Allah and in Allah's wisdom and, you know, justice in everything that He legislates.
Can I ask you this question, though? Just to clarify, you were the first wife?
Yes.
And then your husband took on a second wife?
Yes.
And was that your expectation, I guess, when you first made the commitment to him?
Yes. Actually, we had discussed polygyny before we even got married, and I actually let him know that it was something that I was open to because of examples that I had seen within the Muslim community of polygynous marriages and the benefits, and also just because of my belief in, you know, Islam, my holistic belief in Islam. So we talked about it, and I let him know, you know, if there came a point where he was able to take on another wife and to benefit another sister in the community, because, you know, in Islam, there's a narration from the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, where he says that none of you truly believes until you want for your brother what you want for yourself. And that also is talking, when he says brother, I mean, it also applies to sisters as well. So this is a part of belief, is wanting your fellow sister to benefit from the things that you are benefiting from. So right. I was open to it.
Well, let me ask you this question. I know you said that you were certainly open to it, but are you in the same city, in the same neighborhood? Are you living?
We live about 30 minutes apart from each other.
So you live 30 minutes apart. So just kind of help our listeners, and as well as educate me. How does this work? I mean, does he spend a couple days with you? I mean, how does I don't understand the division of time here. Help me out.
Okay, well, Islamically, you know, the husband is supposed to be just with regards to his time and with regards to his the maintenance.